seeing that on paper gave me confidence that maybe I am like shooting well. I am not just missing. So I think there is like a mental piece to it that you have to just really believe that it's going to go in. And I think seeing it statistically helped my confidence a little bit.
Just when you thought you'd seen every side of Lexie Hull, she steps onto the court and flips the script, leaving fans, analysts, and opponents all doing a double take. Her transformation isn't just physical, it's a statement, a complete reinvention that's shaking up the WNBA landscape. From fresh looks to fierce new moves, Lexie is rewriting what it means to be a rising star. But what's behind this stunning evolution? Is it confidence, strategy, or something deeper? Lexie Hull's journey to basketball stardom was never a guaranteed headline. Coming into college as a promising but not widely heralded recruit, few outside of her immediate circle expected the dramatic evolution that would soon captivate fans and analysts alike. The whispers began early on, but it wasn't until she exploded onto the court in her sophomore year that the world truly took notice. What was once a quiet, methodical player with solid fundamentals suddenly transformed into a relentless force, a player who seemed to have added new dimensions overnight. That season, game after game, Lexie defied the typical rookie trajectory. She was no longer just a role player. She was the focal point, the centerpiece of her team's offense and defense. Observers marveled at the sheer confidence in her movements, the way she attacked the basket with newfound aggression, and the sharpness in her shot selection. Her stats climbed steadily. Points, rebounds, assists, but more than numbers, it was the presence she carried that made opponents take pause. At first, fans wondered if it was just a hot streak, a flash of talent peaking early, but game after game, Lexie's transformation seemed to solidify. She was faster, smarter, more composed under pressure. The whispers grew louder, evolving into buzz. Sports commentators began referring to her as a breakout star, while opposing coaches scrambled to figure out how to contain her. It was clear something had changed. But what? Looking back, many traced the turning point to a summer before that sophomore season, a period when Lexie dedicated herself to redefining every part of her game. But the physical change wasn't just about skills, it was also in how she carried herself. Gone was the tentative, reserved player from her freshman year. In her place stood a competitor who commanded respect with every glance, every stride on the hardwood. What surprised the basketball world most was how seamlessly Lexie combined raw athleticism with a calculated approach to the game. She wasn't reckless, she was strategic, turning each possession into a chess match she was determined to win. By the end of that season, the unexpected label was tossed aside. Lexie Hull wasn't just a sensation, she was a bona fide star reshaping the narrative about what a rising player could become. But transformation rarely happens in isolation. As her rise unfolded, those closest to her began to reveal the hidden sacrifices and personal battles that fueled this ascent. The story wasn't just about the scoreboard anymore, it was about resilience, identity, and the relentless pursuit of greatness that demanded change, inside and out. Few fans realized the grueling regimen Lexie Hull undertook before her dramatic transformation became visible on the court. While game highlights capture moments of brilliance, the hours spent in near solitude, pushing her limits physically and mentally, remained unseen. Until now, it was during a private summer training camp that the foundation for her metamorphosis was laid, a period marked by brutal workouts, mental conditioning, and a reimagining of her entire athletic approach. Coaches who witnessed her evolution spoke in hushed tones about the intensity and precision of her new routine. Lexie wasn't just running drills, she was reinventing her body mechanics. Speed work was paired with strength training designed to sculpt explosive power. Endless hours were devoted to refining her shooting form, transitioning from a solid but unremarkable flick of the wrist to a smooth, consistent release that demanded respect from defenders. But the physical wasn't the only focus. Lexie worked closely with a sports psychologist to confront self-doubt and build an unshakable confidence. It was here that she confronted the silent voices that had kept her tethered to a modest self-image. Through visualization, mindfulness, and mental rehearsals, she transformed not only her body but her mindset, emerging as a player who thrived under pressure rather than buckled. The transformation wasn't without pain. Injuries, setbacks, and moments of near exhaustion peppered her journey. There were days when the weight of expectations and the sheer physical demand threatened to break her spirit, but with every stumble, Lexie responded with renewed determination. Friends and teammates describe her as unrecognizable noticeable from the player she had been, a change as much internal as external. Behind the scenes, support came from unlikely places. Her family's quiet encouragement, a mentor's tough love, and the fierce competition among teammates pushed her further than ever before. Training sessions became battlegrounds where every extra rep, every sweat-soaked drill was a declaration that the old Lexie was gone, replaced by a force ready to take the spotlight. As whispers of her new form spread, opponents started prepping differently. Scouting reports noted a player who could no longer be underestimated, one who mixed skill with a physicality and endurance that demanded a whole new defensive strategy. Coaches adjusted their game plans. Commentators began speculating on her potential beyond college hoops. That summer was the crucible in which Lexie Hull's transformation was forged, a combination of brutal discipline, mental resilience, and the refusal to accept limitations. It was the turning point that not only altered her career trajectory, but sent ripples through the basketball world, forcing everyone to pay attention. Lexie Hull's rise wasn't just about athleticism, it was a challenge to the very expectations the basketball world had set for her. Scouts once saw her as a reliable but conventional player, someone who fit neatly into existing roles but didn't redefine them. Yet, as Lexie's transformation became undeniable, it shattered those preconceived notions and rewrote the narrative about what she could be. The basketball establishment had long pigeonholed Lexie as a shooter or a role player, someone who contributed within certain confines but never dominated, yet her evolving game blurred those lines. She began showcasing a versatility that left analysts scrambling to find comparisons. A shooter who could slash through defenses, a defender who could guard multiple positions, a leader whose intensity galvanized her team in moments when others faltered. Every game became a statement. With each basket, rebound, and steal, Lexie dismantled the stereotypes that had quietly circled her name. Critics who once doubted her athletic ceiling found themselves eating their words. The safe pick label was now laughable in the face of her relentless energy and flair for the dramatic. What made her shattering of expectations even more compelling was how naturally she wore it. There was no showboating or grandstanding, just pure, unapologetic basketball that demanded respect. It was as if she had been waiting to explode all along, held back only by the limits others placed on her potential. Her impact rippled beyond the court. Young players started looking at Lexie as a blueprint for rewriting their own stories, challenging the notion that talent was fixed or roles were predetermined. Coaches adjusted their recruiting strategies, now seeking players with similar hunger and adaptability. The media began to pivot too. Stories shifted from tentative praise to full-blown admiration, with headlines highlighting how Lexie Hull was transforming the game in ways no one expected. Fans flocked to arenas not just to watch a player, but to witness a revolution in motion. In a league hungry for fresh stars and new narratives, Lexie didn't just break molds, she smashed them, leaving behind a trail that redefined what it means to rise, to adapt, and to own your moment. The basketball world would never look at her the same way again. When fans first noticed Lexie Hull on the court, it wasn't just her skills that caught their attention. It was the striking change in her appearance that sparked conversation. The transformation wasn't purely athletic, it was visual, symbolic, and powerful. Gone was the unassuming rookie with a quiet style. In her place was a player who looked every bit the part of a rising star, turning heads as much off the court as on it. Her hair, once kept simple and practical, now flowed with a fresh confidence. Bold cuts, vibrant colors, and styles that matched the fierce energy she brought to the game. It was a visible declaration. Lexie was no longer playing it safe. Her uniform carried subtle personal touches, custom sneakers, wristbands, and even sneakers designed to blend fashion with function. Every detail screamed evolution. But this wasn't just about aesthetics. Lexie's new look mirrored a deeper shift in her approach to basketball. The confidence she radiated was evident in every move. The way she attacked the rim with authority, the sharpness in her passes, and the fearless defense that frustrated opponents. She had reinvented not only her body and mindset, but her entire presence. Critics and fans alike debated whether the change was cosmetic or strategic. Some argued it was a marketing move, a way to stand out in an increasingly competitive league. Others saw it as a natural extension of her growth, an outward expression of the fierce competitor she had become. Whatever the interpretation, the impact was undeniable. Lexie was a new brand of player, stylish, dynamic, and impossible to ignore. Off the court, her transformation sparked a wave of of inspiration. Young fans began emulating her style, and social media buzzed with admiration and curiosity. Fashion blogs dissected her looks, while sports analysts highlighted how her physical transformation correlated with her explosive performance. The synthesis of style and substance made her a compelling figure in the world of women's basketball. This visual rebirth wasn't just a phase, it was a statement. Lexie Hull had arrived not only as a game changer, but as a trendsetter, challenging old stereotypes about female athletes and showing that power and personality could coexist in one formidable package. No transformation of this scale comes without its detractors, and Lexie Hull's rise was no exception. As her star ascended, so too did the voices questioning her authenticity, her motives, and even her work ethic. Some critics accused her of relying too heavily on flash and style, questioning whether the new Lexie was all substance or just smoke and mirrors. The skepticism wasn't limited to casual observers. Former players, analysts, and even coaches weighed in with mixed reviews. Some saw her transformation as a necessary evolution, a player growing into her own and embracing the spotlight. Others dismissed it as a marketing stunt, a calculated reinvention designed to attract endorsements and media attention rather than improve on-court performance. Social media became a battleground. Hashtags alternated between praise and doubt, while heated debates erupted in comment sections and sports forums. A faction of purists clung to the idea that true greatness came from quiet, consistent effort, not a sudden makeover or flashy appearances. They questioned whether Lexie's transformation was sustainable or merely a fleeting spectacle. Even teammates and coaches felt the pressure. Offhand remarks leaked about locker room tensions, with some veteran players reportedly unsure how to navigate the new dynamics Lexie's rise introduced. Was this change a sign of maturity, or was it a disruption to team chemistry? The uncertainty only fueled the fire around her. Lexie herself faced these attacks with a mix of grace and steel. She rarely addressed critics directly, but let her game speak louder than any tweet or headline. In press conferences, she acknowledged the doubts, but framed them as fuel. "I'm not here to prove anyone wrong with words," she said once. "I'll let my play do that." The backlash, intense as it was, revealed something critical. Lexie Hull's transformation was more than personal, it was cultural. It forced conversations about what it means to evolve as an athlete, how female players navigate identity in the public eye, and the often harsh scrutiny that comes with breaking molds. In facing skepticism, she became a lightning rod for broader debates about authenticity, image, and the future of women's sports. There's always a defining moment when a transformation ceases to be a rumor or a tease and becomes undeniable. For Lexie Hull, that moment came during a high-stakes tournament game that was broadcast to millions. The stage was set, packed arenas, national television, and every basketball analyst watching intently. Lexie started the game like any other, focused, determined. But as the minutes ticked by, she began to do things that made commentators pause mid-sentence and fans erupt in disbelief. A no-look pass here, a breakaway dunk there, and suddenly she was everywhere at once, orchestrating plays, locking down defenders, and draining clutch shots. But it wasn't just the stats. It was the way she moved with a new fluidity, combining power and grace in a way that seemed almost choreographed. Opponents who tried to contain her were left grasping at air, their strategies unraveling under her relentless pressure. Each highlight reel clip seemed to say the same thing. Lexie Hull had transformed into a player who demanded attention, respect, and fear. The arena's atmosphere shifted from casual excitement to electric intensity. Fans chanted her name, social media exploded with clips and reactions, and by the final buzzer, the narrative was clear. Lexie wasn't just good, she was a game changer. Post-game analysis dissected every move. Experts praised her improved court vision, her elevated defensive presence, and the newfound confidence that radiated from every play. More importantly, they noted the way she had seized the moment, stepping up when it mattered most. That game wasn't just a win on the scoreboard, it was a turning point in public perception. Lexie's transformation had crossed the threshold from potential to proof. It was no longer about what she might become. The basketball world now recognized who she was. In the days and weeks that followed, the buzz only intensified. Offers for endorsements poured in, invitations to exclusive events stacked up, and Lexie became a favorite topic of conversation from sports talk shows to fan forums. Her transformation had captivated more than just basketball fans. It was a cultural event, a signal that something big had shifted in women's sports. sports. Lexie Hull's rise wasn't just about her visible transformation, it was the secret arsenal of skills she developed that truly left opponents reeling. Behind the flash and style was a meticulously honed craft, a set of moves and techniques that made her a nightmare on both ends of the court. Defenders found themselves frozen in place, caught in the wake of a player whose game had evolved far beyond expectations. It started with her footwork. Coaches noted how Lexie's agility had reached a new peak, allowing her to create space effortlessly and dodge defenders with a blend of speed and finesse rarely seen in players her age. Every pivot, every cut was calculated to perfection, a testament to hours spent breaking down game film and refining fundamentals. But it wasn't just about movement. Lexie developed a deadly mid-range jumper, the kind that forced defenses to choose between collapsing inside or risking an open shot. She worked tirelessly on her shooting mechanics, turning what was once an inconsistent shot into a reliable weapon. Defenders who dared to give her space quickly learned the consequences. Her defensive game was no afterthought either. Lexie became known for her ability to read opponents like a book, anticipating passes and cutting off lanes with an intensity that disrupted offensive flow. Her quick hands and sharp instincts led to steals and turnovers that energized her team and demoralized opponents. What truly set Lexie apart was her basketball IQ. She saw plays develop before they happened, positioning herself perfectly to exploit weaknesses or set up teammates for success. That vision made her a dual threat, scoring herself and creating opportunities for others, making her nearly impossible to defend. Opponents tried everything: double teams, traps, physical play, but Lexie adapted with grace and determination. Her skill set was a constantly moving target, evolving faster than anyone could predict. For defenders, facing her was like trying to solve a puzzle that changed with every possession. Lexie Hull's transformation wasn't confined to the hardwood. Off the court, she underwent a profound personal evolution that fed directly into her athletic achievements. The pressure of newfound fame, the grind of professional sports, and the demands of public scrutiny shaped her into someone remarkably resilient and self-aware. Friends and family described Lexie's journey as one of growth and grounding. She cultivated routines that balanced the physical with the mental, embracing meditation, nutrition, and rest as crucial parts of her regimen. No longer just a talented athlete, she became a holistic competitor, understanding that success required harmony between body and mind. The support system around her played a pivotal role. Mentors, coaches, and loved ones provided not just guidance, but a safe space to process the highs and lows of rapid change. Lexie's openness to vulnerability became a strength, helping her navigate the isolating aspects of stardom and stay connected to her roots. Social media, often a double-edged sword, was handled with deliberate care. Lexie maintained boundaries that allowed her to engage with fans and promote causes close to her heart without getting lost in the noise. Her presence online reflected authenticity, a mix of confidence and humility that endeared her to many. This off-court transformation also influenced her leadership style. Teammates noticed a new willingness to mentor younger players, share wisdom, and take responsibility beyond scoring points. Lexie was no longer just a player, she was becoming a cornerstone of her team's culture. The personal changes fueled a virtuous cycle. The stronger and more centered she became away from the game, the more commanding and focused she was on it. This balance was a key ingredient in the transformation that had everyone doing a double take. With every highlight and headline came an escalating wave of expectations from fans, coaches, sponsors, and most dauntingly, from herself. Lexie Hull found herself at the center of a spotlight that could be as blinding as it was illuminating. The pressure to perform consistently, to evolve, and to lead began to weigh heavily, testing her mental fortitude in ways she hadn't anticipated. Navigating the media frenzy was a steep learning curve. Every statement, every gesture was scrutinized, often out of context. Rumors and speculation swirled around her personal life and ambitions. Lexie learned quickly that fame brought not only admiration, but criticism, sometimes harsh and unwarranted. The expectations extended beyond the court. Sponsors sought her image for campaigns, charities invited her voice, and fans looked to her as a role model. Each opportunity carried a hidden challenge: to stay authentic while meeting the demands of a growing public persona. Internally, Lexie wrestled with the fear of burnout. The relentless cycle of games, travel, training, and public appearances threatened to erode the joy that had fueled her passion for basketball. Recognizing the danger, she prioritized self-care and leaned on her support network, finding strength in moments of quiet reflection. Her response to pressure was marked by a growing maturity. Rather than shying away, she embraced the challenge as part of the journey. Pressure reveals who you are. She once said in a rare candid interview, "I want to prove I can thrive under it, not just survive." This attitude endeared her even more to fans and teammates, who saw not just talent but tenacity. The mounting pressure was no longer a threat but a proving ground, shaping Lexie into the player and person she was destined to become. As the dust settles on one of the most remarkable transformations in recent basketball history, the question looms large. What's next for Lexie Hull? The answer is both exciting and uncertain, a path full of potential, challenge, and the promise of greatness yet to be defined. Lexie's current trajectory points to a future where she could become not just a star, but a legend. Analysts predict all-star selections, leadership roles, and perhaps even a place in the sport's pantheon. But Lexie remains grounded, aware that each season brings new obstacles and competitors hungry to take her place. Beyond personal accolades, Lexie's impact extends to the broader game. She represents a new generation of players who blend skill, style, and substance, reshaping perceptions about women's basketball and inspiring countless young athletes. Her evolution has sparked conversations about identity, resilience, and the power of reinvention. Off the court, Lexie's platform continues to grow. She has become a voice for social causes, an advocate for mental health, and a role model for balancing ambition with authenticity. The next chapters of her career will likely blend athletic feats with meaningful influence beyond the game. But if the past is any indication, Lexie Hull won't be content to rest on laurels or predictions. The transformation that stunned the basketball world was just the beginning, a prelude to a career defined by continuous growth, fierce competition, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. For fans and skeptics alike, one thing is clear: Lexie Hull's story is far from over, and whatever comes next, it will be impossible to look away. For the WNBA, Lexie Hull's transformation is more than just a glow-up. It's a declaration that the game is evolving before our very eyes. From quiet promise to undeniable presence, she's challenging expectations and rewriting the rules of what it means to be a star. Now, every fan, every coach, every sponsor is watching closely. Will Lexie's rise spark a new era of confidence and style, or will the pressures of fame threaten to dim her shine? The next chapter belongs to Lexie, and to every player inspired by her journey. What do you see in her transformation? A true game changer, or a flash in the pan? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that keep you doing a double take.